People are wondering about us. Hello, we're live. We're here. I know you were worried because we are like 10 minutes late.
Did anybody ask?
Yes, everyone's frantic on the internet. Yes, no one is frantic.
No one cared.
But I'm going to tell all my friends right now, come watch the show.
No one at all cared that we were late.
Yes, I'm going to send smiles. Send, okay. Now, what you need to do is what I'm about to do right now. You're going to go like, and you're going to share. That's the wrong message. Like, share, subscribe, follow the message on the pillow. Tell everyone you know about the show. So I'm going to go right now. I'm a Facebooker because I'm an older person, so I use old internet.
Is that what it is?
Yes, Facebook is old internet, is which I've been informed. That's what old people do, is old internet, Facebook. New internet, I think, is Twitter or Instagram. I don't understand Instagram. Like, you just share pictures.
Well, no, you can, but you can type a bunch of stuff too, and there's no limit to your words.
But the picture size is weird.
Yeah, that I haven't figured that out. But I post Instagram all the time for our show.
I don't get it, guys. Like, I'm just sharing a picture. Okay, well, I can do that on Facebook too, I guess. Right, which I do. I share my daily.
How about we go through our show instead of having the debate of how old and we don't know about technology?
I just need everyone to know I'm old. It's okay.
Whoa. That was unintentional.
Whoa.
Shut down now. Sorry
about that. All right,
that.
Let's talk about some movies.
Whoa. Let's go then, sister.
Okay, we got so many things to talk about today. Where are we going to go? And even if we didn't have much to talk about, it would still be an hour show because we just like to talk.
We'll babble about some nonsense.
All right. So, where do we want to begin? We have a strange variety this week, which I think that's what always happens. We end up just watching everything because we're like, we need something for the show. But I like that we do that because I do actually watch everything now. Even stuff I wouldn't normally watch, like
here's the thing.
History and war movies.
No. Here's the thing: is when we first met,
back in the day.
When we first met, you were more avid to watch almost any kind of movie.
Correct.
And then as she got old and unfun, she stopped watching as many horror films. Didn't want to watch a lot of ridiculous stuff, and then you got very streamlined of only wanting to watch certain things.
Vampires, werewolves, romantic comedy.
I've used this show in our website as an excuse to force her back into the world of movies, saying, well, you have to watch this because we can talk about it on the show. And now she's starting to back to the person I met, enjoying good things again. I mean, she got bad taste in a lot of movies, but
no. Okay, maybe I do.
She watches Cool as Ice way too many times.
I had spent a couple weeks, but I do have one thing I have to tell you.
Okay.
I've actually changed my mind this week.
On Bucky?
No. Well, that was last week. That was last week's revelation that I liked Bucky.
You changed your mind this week on who?
Vampires and werewolves.
Are you a werewolf now?
I'm a werewolf now. Because...
Are you watching Stupid Legacies or something?
No, because rainy days make me so unhappy and depressed. You know that I need sunlight. I would be the most miserable vampire. I hate rain. I hate cold. I hate cloudiness.
Well, here's the
problem. Need to be in the sun.
Let's forget any of that. You can't stay up past 11:30. 11:30
nocturnal. So
11:30, 12. She's like this. Even her phone tells her to go to bed.
Well, and I think too, if I was an immortal vampire, I'd get bored because I'd want to go to work.
But here's the thing: if you were a vampire, you'd get to nap all day.
I know,
because you like to nap all day.
I do like to nap all day, but then what do?
You're the only other people I know.
I don't know
that could nap all day and still need to go to bed at 11:30.
I do. That does happen.
Most people, when they sleep all day, they're like, I'm going to end up being up all night.
Not me, sister. That's why Saturday afternoon I took 2-3 hour nap, and I still went to bed
today,
12.
Today you took about an hour one this afternoon.
No, that was 30 minutes.
No. It was about 45
sorry,
minutes.
It was 40.
And then you just took another one.
I did, and I will still go to bed at night and sleep all night long and feel good.
Will. And then if she slightly wakes up, and then like yesterday, I didn't have class yesterday, so it was like we're gonna all get to be able to sleep in. And this idiot still gets up at 7:30 in the morning, and she's all romping around.
I had no alarms on. I woke up at 7:30, but I did good. I stayed in bed for 20 minutes.
Oh, so it's successful.
I'm gonna get up, and I got up. But then you, dum-dum, have a day off, and your alarm kept going off. Your alarm went off 3 times.
Because I don't turn my alarms off. Unlike you, the reason I don't turn them off is because I have a paranoia thing of forgetting to turn them back on.
I check my alarm every night and make sure I have the right thing on.
I do too, and I turned them all off when we went on our trip.
I got the new iPhone 12.
for no apparent
And
reason other
purple.
than they got this purple and she's dumb.
It was free upgrade.
I turned them all off when we went on vacation, except
Yes,
for
you
the ones
did.
we reset for when we needed to be up for stuff.
Which were still early.
But I have like 20 alarms set.
I know, it's a lot.
But it's because I have different classes all day long, different places to be all day long. And then now there's some still set from when we were in lockdown because my class schedule changed. So I had my original alarm set. Then I had my new versions of the alarms set to make sure, hey, go outside and teach your class. As of June, I'll be back to teaching 12 classes a week.
Oh my
in
gosh.
person. So
much.
That's why I have alarms set all over town.
I know, but your alarms scare me. It's like, "Mah, mah, mah, mah."
That is because I'm handicapped. I have a hearing issue.
You're handicapable. You need to get hearing aids and get over
I don't
it.
need hearing aids. The doctor
Yes,
said
you do.
my
Yes.
quality of life is affected.
My quality of life is affected.
No, mine, not yours. He never mentioned you whatsoever. He didn't even know your name.
All right, pick a movie.
All right, well, let me just start there.
Sorry,
Since
where
it's
we're
talking about
at?
Problems, yeah.
All right.
So this first one was one that I had never heard anything about. They just sent it to me. Didn't have any high expectations because I'm not a huge fan of William Shatner, who is the star of this. It's a movie called Senior Moment, starring William Shatner, Gene Smart, Christopher Lloyd, and Isai Morales. There's a couple other older actors, and I don't remember the names offhand, but they were kind of secondary characters. But it's kind of a romantic comedy-ish, a senior romantic comedy. I just don't.
Say it. It's okay.
I'm a Star Trek fan, but my least favorite captain is Kirk.
Okay.
In the form of whatever his name is, William Shatner. I'm not a fan of William Shatner. I'm just not.
I agree.
I think he's more entertaining in the Star Trek movies. I don't think he fits any other role.
You just think that's all he can do?
Well, it's
Or
not
that's
all
you
he
see
can
him,
do.
or-
I think it's because he embodied that role at the time when that was the role. So I respect his character. You know, he has that overacting thing that's really on purpose, I think, for that character, because he doesn't do that in every movie.
Yeah.
But, well, he does on some. But I just think that he kind of he's really got to take it back. He's really good in the old Twilight Zone episode too. But anything other than that he's ever been, I've never been a big fan. So I want to say that going in this movie.
Okay.
What did you think of this movie?
It was okay. I mean, it was cute, and there were some funny moments. I thought it was very cute. He's fine. I mean,
He's fine
the
in the role.
unfortunate thing is, I'm like, oh, it's William Shatner doing this. Because, you know, he has that thing that
He's
he
always
does.
William Shatner.
He's always William Shatner. He's not an actor in a movie.
Christopher Lloyd's the same way.
He's
Christopher
just
Lloyd
him.
is always Christopher Lloyd.
I just think he's that crazy dot guy.
I know.
Always.
But the difference is
Is
Christopher
this now a
Lloyd's.
movie?
No, it's that.
I mean, a TV
Girlfriend
show?
It's a TV series. It's an old show. I didn't know it was coming back. I thought it was over.
Sorry.
Christopher Lloyd, though, is such a
But he's funny.
unique character
He's just weird.
that
Every time.
even when he tones it down, even
He's
though
weird.
it's similar to Doc Brown, he can fit in almost any kind of comedic role, and then stands out in a movie like Nobody.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't fit that mold.
Correct.
And ended up being awesome in that movie.
Yeah.
Which is probably the only movie you've ever liked him in.
I think so. Because I don't particularly care for the Back to the Futures. I'm more of a Teen Wolf.
As long as you're not Teen Wolf 2.
Where's the one where we're surfing on
That's
the thing?
Teen Wolf, yes.
Okay, that's the one. Jason Bateman.
No, that's Teen Wolf 2.
That's the one I like too.
Michael J. Fox is Teen Wolf.
But I like the other one too.
And I can't
It's fine.
even torment you. I love them both as
Anywho.
bad as they are. Even Jason Bateman will tell you Teen
Yeah.
Wolf 2 is awful.
It doesn't matter. Anyways,
Did
this
you ever
movie.
watch Teen Wolf the cartoon?
I don't think so. Oh, I need to watch that.
No, you
Anyway,
don't.
Senior Moment, it's cute. It's funny. They do use, obviously, the age as a funny catalyst for a lot of the things that happen. There's stuff where he's just trying to walk and it goes badly.
Yeah, the whole premise is a guy who you tell he lives like he's somebody, and he drives around in this little sports car Porsche, and he drives a little crazy, keeps getting in trouble. Eventually, he loses his license, basically. And so it's his journey of kind of getting in touch with the fact that he is actually older.
Yeah.
And alone, because there's an interesting evolution of the beginning where he ignores most people except for his best friend, and then how he ends up being connected to this other person, and then there's all the cliched love story stuff. It's all just done with older people.
Correct.
But it's interesting how the simple matter of having to walk places changes the perspective of life.
Correct.
You know, and so I thought that was an interesting twist. The movie's fine. It's not a great movie. It's very by the numbers. It's very, you know, exactly where it's going to go.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost like a sitcom. Is what I feel like, because even there's a whole thing with he's spying, thinking she's cheating, and you know it's something this, and you know it's that, and you know there's silly moments, and it works fine. Did it feel like, I don't know if it was the editing, or if it felt just kind of like, it felt like a Lifetime movie.
I was gonna say it felt like a TV movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was meant to be, but
well, and you know what, some of it
felt like it.
This is what I think happens to some films like this that are like lower budget films, and then you watch them on like a high def.
Yeah, that
TV,
might have been our
makes it
thing.
look like, not as a bragging point, but if you start seeing some of those high def TVs and it looks like they're in the room with you, it somehow lowers that production value if they don't have that quality camera or production the way they do it. It looks like you're watching a soap opera or Lifetime movie. That's what this feels like.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I thought, a TV movie. It's cute. It's fine. If you have extra time and you come across it, watch it. Why not? But
it's fine. If you're a fan of William Shatner.
There you go. Sorry.
Or just like romantic
maybe you
comedies.
love him.
Yeah, he has a fan base, clearly.
Isaiah Morales is in it without a shirt on.
Really?
So he is. For like when he walks through and he's like,
when did he do that?
When he was sneaking off with what's her name?
Oh, spoiler! You didn't put that on the show.
I didn't say who he was with.
You just sneaking off with what's her name?
Well, I didn't tell you.
Now we know he snuck off with somebody.
Well, there you go.
After I made a different statement, anybody that's listening to the show paying attention now knows the truth.
Whatever. You don't know anything.
Anyway.
I didn't spoil anything.
I know you didn't.
My gosh, so you had me like.
Senior Moment, I believe, hits DVD this week.
There you go.
From Screen Media, I think it's putting out.
It's cute.
So if you want to watch, check it out. If you don't.
All right then. Well, let's go to the next movie. Where do you want to go now?
Let's go to the next one.
Oh, okay.
The next one is actually, it's been out for a little while, but this was a made-for-TV movie.
Here we go.
It's actually a made-for-TV movie that we just happened to pass because we didn't really feel like watching anything at the time.
Yeah, we're like, we didn't want to commit to watching a movie.
And this is ironically a Lifetime movie.
So we were like, hey, what is this about?
That was a segue, unintentional segue. And it's a biography of rap legends Salt-N-Pepa, who are here, and they are in full effect.
They are in effect.
Because they want you to
push
it back.
It real good?
No, come on, sister.
I'm going to push it real good.
So, of course, me being the hardcore hip-hop guy, I'm all in if you're going to have to watch a movie like this.
Correct.
Here's the problem with these kind of movies, before we talk about this movie, is now that you've had movies like Straight Outta Compton and All Eyes on Me, and even to a lesser extent Notorious, I didn't think it was that great. But then Bohemian Rhapsody and what was the Elton John one?
Yes.
Anyway, you have these big screen
that Elton
versions.
John movie.
What is the name of it?
I don't even know.
Elton John movie.
Somebody will tell us.
Sassoon Says So Much. That's what it's called. But you have so many of these big screen.
What is the name of the Elton
Just
John
look
movie?
it up.
I'm searching.
Anyway,
I'm looking it up.
You have so many of these movies that.
Rocket Man.
Thank you. No, it doesn't matter. Some of these big screen, big budget movies that have such major production, when they put them on
a TV movie,
TV movies, they feel lesser. And I feel like somebody like Salt-N-Pepa deserve as much as, NWA.
I agree.
Tupac,
Who decided to make this a Lifetime movie?
I don't know, but it is what it is. Sometimes it's probably easier to get. I do appreciate these kind of movies because they might have been easier to get them greenlit this way. Lifetime makes a lot of these where they follow.
Thank you.
Even the Motley Crue movie was really good.
Whoever sent us bubbly hearts, thank you, love you.
You're welcome. So anyway, this was a Lifetime movie that came on back in January.
We are way behind.
I knew about it, forgot about it, and it's directed by Mario Van Peebles, which I don't think we get enough Mario Van Peebles.
Correct.
And his son is also in this movie.
And that was so funny. You had like some eagle eyes right there. That guy showed up and you're like, he looks like a Van Peebles. And he's over here and he's like, yep, that's his son. I was like, How can you tell? And then when you get a good look at him, like
it
you can
looks
tell
like the young Mario
just
Van
right here,
Peebles.
his nose and his little mouth.
If you look at almost all it's just like when we were watching Falcon Winter Soldier, when Walker shows up, I'm like, that's Kurt Russell's kid.
Yeah, it's got that.
It looks just like it's Wyatt Russell. It looks just like him.
Yeah.
If you look at old Patrick Swayze's brother in Senior Moment, Martin Sheen's brother. Looks just like Martin Sheen.
Correct. Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you can tell.
So anyway,
Salt-N-Pepa.
I don't know the actresses in this movie that play Salt-N-Pepa.
I'm going to tell you right here.
Yes, you can. Go ahead.
Her name is Layla Odom and Gigi Townsend.
Cool.
Gigi.
So
love it.
I knew most of this information in this movie, but then there was a lot of little nuances that I didn't know from my hip hop. I mean, I was a big Salt-N-Pepa fan as well, but obviously, being a girl group, I didn't get into them a little bit later because as a young man, I was like, girl, hip hop. You know, I didn't connect to Roxanne Shante. I didn't connect to Queen Latifah. I didn't connect to any of these until my love of all things rap and hip hop kind of started encompassing everything and appreciating all the music instead of just my streamlined groups that I liked.
Correct.
Did you know any of the information in this movie?
I knew nothing about them.
You just knew their music.
I just knew some of the songs, but I had no idea anything about them. So this was like all new information to me. So I was actually really happy. The weird thing is now, since it's been out for a while, the commercials were actually cut out of it. But it would spin like commercial break, but then it go black and then it come right back to the movie.
That was a Hulu situation.
Yeah,
because I think it was a mixture of the Hulu situation and the fact that we have one of the versions of Hulu.
Yeah, the no commercial.
And so it's cutting it, but it was bad cut, so it kind of messed up the movie a little bit.
But man, I didn't know they had kids and were dealing with that while they were trying to have a career. And I knew nothing.
Fun fact that I saved for the show that I remembered my fun fact this time.
Okay.
And I didn't do my Mortal Kombat fun facts when we talked about Mortal Kombat. There's a scene in the movie where, ironically, the guy that's Mario Van Peebles' son, he plays a guy named Sweet Pea or Sweet Tooth or something like that. Sweet Tooth. He brings in a fake Salt-N-Pepa, and they're performing on stage. The fake Salt-N-Pepa are played by Salt-N-Pepa's real-life daughters.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
that is their real life.
So sweet.
That is their real life daughters playing them on stage and as the
Oh
fake
my
ones.
gosh, how cool is that?
Yeah. So anyway, fun fact.
Okay. Well, and then I didn't know that there were two Spinderellas, which you knew.
Yeah,
I didn't know. So the first one did not do anything. And then
there's a real Spinderella.
Then there's a real one. And
And another fun fact, Wendy Williams apparently auditioned for Spinderella at some point.
Oh. And then I didn't know anything about this Tretch person and all that stuff.
It's funny because
and then you're like, that's the guy from Fat Boys. You're like, oh, is that Tretch? And I'm like, how do you know who all these people are?
And it's before they're okay. There's a couple of things.
People just walk into the camera, and you're like, oh, that must have been who?
Prince Marky D. Because she was Peppa was engaged to Prince Marky D at one point, but it wasn't even in the movie. It's not to the point of they're talking about. I know who it is. Is they come into the scene, I can visually see
what they were going for.
What they're wearing, what they're trying to see. Because Prince Marky D had a very specific look. Tretch had a very specific look with his chain and his vest and no shirt. And he always had the headband. And then, of course, knowing the history that she was actually married to Tretch, I didn't know her and Prince Marky D got engaged. I knew they dated. And then earlier, remember I told you there was the other character that I told you I thought was one of the Fat Boys.
Yes.
That was beatboxing and the thing. And then when they saw a guy that looks like Prince Marky D, I'm like, okay, that's got to be Prince Marky D. And there's even a thing like if you don't know
I don't
this,
even know how you got
this isn't really a spoiler to the movie because they've talked about this in interviews. But Salt-N-Pepa worked at a Sears customer service call center alongside Kid and Play and Martin Lawrence.
Which I had no idea any of these people knew each other.
Well, I knew they knew each other. I didn't know they worked together until I saw the interview
funny.
later
And then
on.
you looked it up, right?
Yeah, I saw the interview, and ironically, their manager also had managed Kid and Play. And Martin I think he got his first stand-up opening for Salt-N-Pepa. And then, of course, they all became big. And then, of course, Martin was in House Party with Kid and Play and whatever. But, when we were watching that thing, I told you, I was like, that's Kid and Play.
Oh, my God.
Because he had the top. It's awesome. So
I know. He had the little Gumby hair.
But, and it's interesting, too, is because I've been diving. There's this thing called Vlad TV.
Uh-huh.
And it's just guy that just interviews. He interviews mostly hip-hop stars. So, like, I fall down these rabbit holes, and, like, I was literally just watching a long interview with Kid from Kid and Play.
Okay.
That was recent. And he did one with Tretch talking about the controversy from this movie and stuff, and hearing the stories of how, because most people don't realize, and we talked about it in some a little bit, but Salt-N-Pepa, Kid and Play, a lot of these people actually went on tour with NWA.
Mm-hmm.
So people that didn't think belonged together on a tour.
Like that's what I would think.
They would have crossover appeal, and that was kind of how they all got there. And it's also the reason that a lot of the music shifted in Salt-N-Pepa. Like Kid and Play, kind of lost popularity because of the meteoric rise of things like gangsta rap.
Yeah,
they kind of pushed the fun.
They were just doing fun party songs.
Yeah, but in reality, like Kid owns a pot dispensary, and
yeah, he's still working.
Play found Jesus,
That's
even though he was the kind of the criminal guy of the two.
Yeah,
he found Jesus, and the same thing with Salt-N-Pepa. Salt found Jesus, and kind of went that route.
Well, she was very, even at the beginning.
Yeah, but she got heavily into where Peppo kind of went off the rails, and they came back together. And hearing the story stuff that I didn't know, which was like behind the scenes stuff with Herbie, their manager.
Yeah.
Not knowing how many things he was directly involved in and making the music, and I never knew that was him in the Push It song playing the keyboard and actually doing it. I knew his name at the time, but I didn't know that was him.
Yeah.
And also not knowing that he was kind of influenced with some of the directions, and because of some of their falling outs, when they came out and did some of the other songs. What was the big song that they were doing at the end? Is it not What a Man? No, I don't know.
None of your business.
Yeah, maybe that was the last. Was that the last one they were talking about? So. Where they kind of their own voice kind of thing. It's a distinctly different sound.
Oh, it's when she started producing the album.
And it made sense because I remember this song.
It's completely different.
And as a fan, you hear it and you're like, man, that is a different sound for them. It's kind of like MC Hammer going from You Can't Touch This to Pumps in a Bump. That's a difference between this studio and Death Row.
I don't expect to see him in his little
Speedo
at the pool.
Because when he put out that album, The Funky Headhunter, that was put out through Death Row.
Ooh, that's completely different.
And he was hanging with Tupac, and he was at the hospital when Tupac died and all that kind of stuff. He was actually out with him that night too.
Oh goodness!
So there's totally not related to this movie, but apparently their stories around that Hammer was not to be messed with.
Oh, he sounded like he was.
There's a fun interview.
Ghetto, and he would get things.
Well,
done.
he was very high class
on the outside.
Stage, but they said that he always had this big, which is one of the reasons he went bankrupt. But he always had this big crew of people.
They would take care of things.
But there's an interesting story. Redman does an interview, and in a song, Hammer thought he dissed him, and he said that Hammer stepped to him at an event, and he goes, "Hammer don't play," and it's not what you would think to hear about MC Hammer. But if you look I'll have to show you when the old school.
Didn't Hammer become a minister or something?
No, that was Run from Run DMC. But Hammer was religious. But it's one of the coolest things that I love the Funky Headhunter album. I know most people don't, but if you go into the old school cassette tape,
was there a fold out?
There's a fold out, and the fold out is Hammer doing kicks. So there's a picture. I'll have to show it to you. It's got him doing like a side kick straight up in the air. Because he did martial arts as well, from my understanding.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I'll have to pull it out.
Okay, because we have a whole section of cassettes down here.
I still have all my old school cassettes.
We're old.
Anyway, so what did you think of this movie? I'm sorry, I just went off on that.
No, that's okay. This is your area of expertise. I know nothing about this. I really enjoyed this movie, and even though it was a Lifetime movie, it didn't feel too There were a few scenes that were very overly produced, to make look big, that you could tell were it was just a little fake on some things.
Yeah.
But in general, they did really good. I think their acting was great. I think it could have been a big screen movie with the two of them. They were fine, whoever these ladies were.
I thought they were good in their roles. It was one of those, I think I'm also spoiled of some of the more recent things where the actors look almost identical.
Yeah.
Where they didn't look that much like them until the later part of the movie.
Yeah.
When they got older, then they looked a little more like them.
Yeah. But I thought they did really. I liked it. I learned a lot of stuff. I didn't know any of this information. I just knew I needed to push it real good. That's all I know. I know like 4 songs. That's probably it. And I know.
And the movie had the desired effect because then it made us go back to want to watch part of their reunion.
Yes, we
performance in '95.
Yes, because on there it's like the
hip hop honors.
And then we went and watched the actual Hip Hop Honors video. And so now when I log into YouTube, I have all that Salt-N-Pepa stuff. And that and the Lad Mom.
Oh, Lad Baby.
Yes. Mum and Mock. Mock, I have a new challenge.
His catchphrase is, hey, mate. It's either baby and go, hey, mate. That's really funny.
Mess. Anyhow, I loved this movie. It was good. I would watch it again.
It's another one of those that I tell everybody.
It's just fun.
Any of these movies, I know a lot of people won't watch some of these movies. They're like, I don't care anything about hip hop. But it's music history. It's not, like, I'm not a big fan of, say Mozart, but I would watch a movie to understand the history.
He was cray.
No, I know that. I'm aware
all
of
those people were
I'm saying
weird,
you can watch this and you hear how the industry affected them, and it's like I'm not a fan of Notorious B.I.G., but I watch Notorious and I find it interesting for the history of it. Anyway.
I know. I mean, I learned a lot, and the interesting thing though is them, because of Herbie, the way he was managing, didn't really tell them everything that was happening. Yeah. And so finally some other guy's like, how many points you getting? And she's like, oh, we're getting this many, but we're having to split them. He's like, oh no, you're getting ripped off.
It's crazy.
Interesting.
Almost every one of these stories from that time period has the exact same situation of somebody not giving them the right information, not paying them the right amount of money. And you think about it, you're like, how do these people survive? And then you look at them now where they're not really relevant anymore, but they still perform. And it's like, they're still making all this money, because they did that, like, I Love the 80s and 90s tours for a couple of years. And it was Salt-N-Pepa and MC Hammer, Vanilla Ice and Kid and Play. And they were touring. And you can imagine they were probably making buttloads of money during these tours. But you imagine how much money they should have made. And how much money, say, somebody like MC Hammer did make, but then lost it all, but is still doing well off. It's crazy.
It's just interesting, and even back then though, how they treated women differently than they treated men still too. And so it's even most recent to, like, what's her name, that weird girl that had to re-record all her songs because
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, that Taylor Swift. I'm not a Taylor Swift.
I don't like Taylor Swift.
I'm not a Tay-Tay fan.
I don't get it, but okay.
But that's okay. Yeah. So the industry is crazy. And there's so much paperwork and finagling, and you got to make sure you're trusting the right people.
I like seeing these. I've become this big Tom MacDonald fan.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know Tom MacDonald fan, who Tom MacDonald is. He's a rapper. He doesn't like being called a rapper, but you know what? He's actually a musician artist. Because most of his music
plays drums.
Yeah, most of his music are rap songs, but he sings, he raps, he plays music, but he's completely independent with everything. He writes everything. His girlfriend Nova does all the videos.
They do it all themselves. They package
everything and sell everything themselves. They promote all them themselves. And all of his music, minus the things he put out for the last month, because he's been putting out some more little fun, kind of a hip-hop rock merge stuff that's not his normal style, are like message type things.
Mm-hmm.
And they're controversial on some level. But it's interesting to see in 1 year how much money he has made, because he's upward in, in one of the videos, I don't know if I ever showed it to you, but they did a video together. I think it's called Gang Gang. It was him and Nova, and it was kind of a singing thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was off her album. And Gang Gang meaning they were like a gang. They're the gang.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't do drive-bys, they wave.
Sweet.
But there's show video at the end of it that are home movies. And you can see, like, the stuff he posts now from his house, because he's got a big fancy house now, because he's a multi-millionaire now. But that was only like a year back. And you see they lived in this very rundown, they'd spray painted the walls, like grunge rock type lifestyle and poor in the ghetto. And But seeing what people are going through in these movies and what happened back then, it makes total sense why somebody like him does what he does. Like my favorite song he does is a song called No Response. And the song starts off with that he makes more money selling albums than rap people selling drugs. He's got messages from major record labels that want to sign him that he don't answer. He fired his manager. His whole team is just him and his girlfriend. And that independent money is something else.
Yeah, because it comes directly to him, and it's
and especially if you think about
that's smart.
I used to not really think
it's probably a lot of work, but it's smart.
Well, and I didn't used to think really about people. He's selling songs on iTunes for 99 cents a piece, but if you get 1 million downloads, that's a shit ton of money, man, for 99 cents, and people will spend 99 cents just out of curiosity.
Yeah, and his songs are really good.
Yeah.
I like a lot of his stuff. I don't like his crazy look personally because I don't understand pink dreadlocks. But okay, whatever.
Well, it's his.
I don't.
Well, he doesn't have pink dreadlocks. That was just one video.
Okay, well that's the one.
He just regular dreadlocks.
I think most of the
He
time
doesn't even have
though,
dreadlocks. They're braids.
I think the good thing now though is I don't watch the videos. I just listen to it
Yeah.
while you share it with me. So I'm listening to the message.
Yeah.
Which is most important.
If you haven't ever seen Tom McDonald, go check him out.
Go check it out. It's on YouTube.
You're gonna hate some of the stuff, and some of the stuff you're gonna be like, "Hey, that's what I was thinking." Anyway, that was a total off rip. But anyway, Salt-N-Pepa is available on Lifetime. We watched it on Hulu. I'm assuming anywhere you can find Lifetime, you can probably find it. It's a fun movie, especially if you're a fan of hip hop.
Okay.
It's kind of sad.
It's all about hip hop. All right. You want to just go here?
Let's go there.
All right. This is totally different. This movie is called Sam and Mattie Make a Zombie Movie. And the two guys you see on the screen are Sam and Mattie. They are lifelong best friends. And in case you can't tell, they have Down syndrome.
It's a documentary about a movie.
That's like so not even the point of this movie,
no,
which I think is the great point of the movie.
Yeah,
it's about two friends making a zombie movie.
It's a documentary about these two guys. And what's interesting about it is they weren't making the documentary as to be the movie. They were making this movie, and they were just documenting it while they did it.
Correct, because there were so many cameras. I told you this part,
but
it's
kind of in the movie.
It's his brother.
But the whole point was when they made the movie, the actual zombie movie, then it got shopped to film festivals, and it did really well at a couple, and then all the other ones rejected it. And
that's too bad.
So it kind of went up, and then it crashed and burned. But then all of it culminated into this documentary.
Correct.
Which one of the few things I've ever seen, they actually show the movie in this documentary.
Yes, it's so cute. It's like a little short film, essentially. Okay. First of all, these guys are the cutest, funniest, best friends ever. And I remember one of them, I don't know if it was, which is the one that has the brother? Anyways, one of them has the brother that's always like helping.
With the glasses, it's his brother.
Has the older brother?
I think so. The one that's working on the documentary with him?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But,
I think so.
And then it's so cute because it starts off with the movie with one of the moms saying, I was so worried that all the kids would make fun of him when he went to school and he'd have no friends. But then this other little boy with Down syndrome was in the same class with him. So that's where they became best friends when they were little. Yeah. And they've been best friends all through school, hitting college. I'm going to cry. No, not really. It's just the cutest little story of friendship, first of all.
And it's funny, too, because they show some clips before they even thought about making this movie. They're just out in the park reenacting movies and stuff. They have lightsabers and Nerf guns, and they're shooting a movie and saying action and cut, and they're doing this whole thing like kids, you know. And what's funny is I did stuff like this.
Yes, that's why I knew you were going to connect to this.
Yeah,
the whole we've made short films,
and I have an entire short film still in my brain that I designed in high school that never got done. I never did it.
We did the vampire one.
No. You know, this is a totally thing. This is this is a cop thriller with a serial killer, vigilante kind of situation. So it's kind of the cop thriller that are hunting a serial killer, but they get the help of a vigilante, but like a Punisher type vigilante, not a superhero.
Bad guy.
And all of it came from by my house where my parents live now. There is I don't think you can access anymore. I think they finally put up a fence. But there's a gigantic underground tunnel.
Oh, that seems very dangerous.
You walk into it, and it's like you're walking through the tunnel in the concrete, and it's slime, and it's pitch black. And I remember we used to go down there and run around and act stupid. And and I thought, this is where a serial killer would live. And I remember coming out of there one day, and my friend was standing on the top of it, like just kind of looking down on us as we came out. And I'm like, Dad, the vigilante would be standing right there, and the serial killer would come out, and he'd drop down, and like a fight would break out, and there was like this dip in this cul-de-sac thing, and it was like, and I ended up designing a whole garage sale situation with tables. I made breakaway tables, people get slammed through them, and we did all the breakaway, and I got thrown through stuff, and we tested for this big drive-by shooting scene. I was going to set firecrackers on the table so you could pop them and look like gunshots. None of it ever happened.
You're so smart, though.
I know.
Well, anyways, so these two guys are making a zombie movie.
Sorry. I got excitable. My vision was returning.
Okay, well, imagine that level of excitement with these two guys.
They were more so because they actually did it.
They did it. And, like, everybody helped them, and their families helped them, and they put out – it feels like they put out a casting call, and people showed up. And they're like,
It's like the whole town came together to help
we're
them.
making a zombie movie, and they're like, okay.
And they did a Kickstarter and
Yes.
getting news coverage on the Kickstarter. And
Oh, it's the cutest thing ever.
It is. And the movie is ridiculously dumb in the best way possible that they
It
make.
is. But it makes sense. It all makes sense.
It kind of, and here's what I loved about it, is most of their story doesn't really make sense. It's all over the place in a very ridiculous way. It's very trauma-like. But they were destined to say, this is our movie. They've even said it a couple times. Where you hear stories when somebody's dealing with a special needs person or a person that's introverted that you come and say, well, that doesn't make sense. They're like, okay, whatever you say. They're like, there's a scene in it too. They're like, this is our movie.
And it's so funny because they had the idea. They knew what they wanted to do. They had storyboards, which were little stick figures.
The worst storyboards ever, but
it's so funny because whoever they got like real people to make this movie.
Yeah, I don't know if I told you or not, but there's a scene where they're at a picnic table and they're talking about. Remember, there's the guy that tells them you got to be respectful for women in the scenes.
Yes,
because they're talking about there's like love scenes and things like this, and he's like, one of the biggest things is you can do whatever you want, but you got to be respectful to the women in the scenes. You got to this. That's Peter Farrelly from the Farrelly brothers.
Yeah, he's here.
He's one of the producers of the film.
And like they have a real writer, they get a real person to storyboard it. Some of the scene, like, this doesn't make sense with what's happening in Lex. He's like, doesn't matter. This is my movie.
And they send him to an actual stunt training, so they go and learn stunts. And there's an actor there that shows up, and I told her, I'm like, this guy? And I had to go look and make sure, but he's the guy, I don't know if I ever told you, he played Thor in the Return of the Incredible Hulk TV movie, that actor. He was the first live-action iteration of Thor.
It's so funny. I mean, this is just all over, but it kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a party, zombies.
It is. It's the slump. What is it? The Spring Break Zombie Massacre is the name of the movie. I want one of those shirts.
We need to get them.
I told my PR guy I want one of these shirts, but I don't know if they actually have them.
We'll see. Anyways, this was just so interesting to watch, and it was uplifting, and it was fun. And there's a time where his brother's the one that's narrating. So Sam's brother, Jesse, is the one that's narrating. And so so they tell the story of like how making, and then he's like, now we're going to watch the movie. So we're watching the movie. He's like, hold on, I have to stop here and tell you why this happened.
Yeah.
So there's one scene at the prom, and he's like, okay, now I have to tell you about Sam and Jesse's real prom. So it's interesting.
It's interesting because it does. You don't watch the movie straight through. There's stops. It's like watching it with commentary.
Correct.
But it pauses and then it goes to another thing, and it's like this heartbreaking moment dealing with prom. But because that heartbreaking moment, it established this for the movie, and
correct,
it fed into it. It's like pain feeds
yes.
art.
Oh, it's so good. This is such a cute movie.
It is,
and it's zombies, and it's the best.
They're so the two guys are so happy,
but they're smart too.
They are. They're smart and they're happy.
They know they're moving
doing the thing, and there's even like this whole message. Like I don't want to spoil it if you get a chance to watch it, but it comes up and he talks about. At the end of the movie, they're talking about the making of the film itself, and it comes back that it really was never about making the movie. It was about bringing people together. It was about the family that they didn't have, or that they wanted to have. They had family, they had a support system, but it was interesting that whole thing took a turn.
Mm-hmm.
That it was so much more to just making a zombie film than it was just that they wanted to be filmmakers. It wasn't about that. It was about the bigger thing of them all being together. Because
I think it's either, I don't know which one. The one with the glasses at the end, he starts crying and he's like, that's okay if nobody ever sees it. We made our movie. And I'm like, that's so sweet. It's the coolest thing. And the thing that they don't talk about is their Down syndrome.
Yeah, it's never
even mentioned, except for that one time when the mom, it's like, I just hope he had a friend, and then he has a best friend. Yeah,
and there's a couple of scenes where you understand, like, I think it was the dad having a shaved one.
Yes.
So, like, stuff that has to be done for them, and I believe, I could be wrong, but I thought there was somebody talking about at one point that they thought it was going to be a lot more trouble to work with them, and ended up saying, but they're very professional.
Well, they're very high functioning.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know that it's different with every single
There's a little bit of the speech impediment, but honestly, they act fairly like everybody else.
The only thing,
they're so smart. When they talk about the zombies, they're like, well, what type of zombie? He's like, well, you remember George Romero, but this movie, not the other.
Because they know. They go watch all these movies they check out at the library. And,
that is the cutest thing.
But the other thing, I did have some horrible flashbacks because of this movie.
Why?
So I had a friend that had Down syndrome. And I say we're no longer friends for two reasons. One, I have no idea what happened to him as we went through school, because how a lot of it is where I think he was significantly older than me, and I worked with special needs kids for a little. That was my intention, and then it just didn't end up going that way.
That's what you were gonna do.
Yeah, and I worked with him.
There's a joke there about teaching now, but
yeah. But his name was W.T. Plumley.
Yeah,
that was his real name.
Yeah.
But we had an incident in the bathroom where he turned on me one day. And like, he was a big dude, and like, he picked me up by the throat. And I don't, honestly, it wasn't a case of an argument. He just got mad about something, and I was like, let it go, or don't worry about it. And it took him the wrong day. And this is at school.
Yeah.
He put me against the wall, and he was like, and it was everything I do to not hit him and try to fight back, because I could have just destroyed him by that point. Because at that point, I was already fighting. Mm-hmm. But it was like the Hulk. You know, I hate making that statement, but a lot of times these guys are a lot stronger than they realize. Correct. And he was a big dude, too. He was like a big, hefty guy.
He was tall and big.
Yeah, and then after that, I was like, I had to report it because I didn't know if that was an issue that he was going to have with somebody else. Yeah. You know, and everybody loved him, and they didn't do anything to him. He didn't get punished, but they then took me out of the class because they were like, we don't know about an issue, and we can't keep you there. Yeah. So then I had acquaintance with him after that, you know, because the next day it was like nothing happened. Why aren't you in class? Yeah. So I'm not in the class anymore. Why not? You know. And then over time we just kind of went our separate ways. But I love that guy. But so watching this, I was flashing back about being choked by somebody with Down syndrome.
Oh, I think the other thing too, though, is we remembered our friends at My Possibilities. Yeah. Who loved that whole school is just for people with special needs. Adults. Learning just life skills. Yeah. You know.
Well, and I passed this on to one of my friends. I'm going to post a link to that.
People didn't know about that.
Asked him if he had seen this movie, and so he's going to watch it. And I've reached out to the PR firm because I'm going to try to see if I don't know if they'll let me show this there because of the blood and guts. I don't think they're going to allow it. But I reached out to PR people and said, hey, here's an organization that I have a friend that works there that we deal with stuff. I've done some troops there for 501st, and they're great people, and they do a lot of great stuff. And I think this is a great motivation movie for them, but the content may not be something they're allowed to show. Yeah, because some of the people they deal with do have the mental capacity of children and might not be able to watch that kind of. Even though it's not a scary thing, you know, the sexual innuendos and the blood, and so we'll see what happens. If it does, we'll definitely be reporting it that we got to do a cool showing.
Did you know that 250,000 people in North Texas have an intellectual or developmental disability?
I think most of them are in my class.
Huh. Anyways, I'm going to share this in case y'all ever want to help or donate or anything to My Possibilities.
My Possibilities is awesome.
They're awesome. It's a nonprofit organization that deals with adults that help adults with autism, Down syndrome, and other disabilities learn life skills. And they do art classes, computer classes. They had like a social one time, like that little dance thing we went to.
Yeah, that's where I went to the trooping. It was a space theme.
It's pretty cool.
Bunch of us 501st. Well, my friend that works is part of the 501st, and so they had us come out there and taking pictures with them, and then they kept asking about me, and I think that was the most personal with them.
It's the cutest thing ever.
And then we have another one of our friends who actually is a special needs teacher in elementary school, so we're always hearing stories from her as well. And
anyways, check out the movie. Sam and Mattie make a zombie movie.
It's so good.
It's cute.
I believe it's available on digital and on demand and that kind of stuff. So wherever pay-per-view is found.
Yeah, help them out.
So let's keep going in the same order?
Sure.
All right.
Oh, I did a good order today. I put the movies in good order. All right. So now we are completely switching gears. Shake that out.
We're leaving special needs, zombies, and documentaries to an action thriller.
So this is the movie Without Remorse.
No. Tom Clancy's.
I'm going to say based on the novels,
the title is Tom Clancy's.
Oh, Lord.
Every Tom Clancy movie comes out Tom Clancy's.
Without Remorse, which I'm going to get to why that's an issue for me. But it stars Creed.
Michael B. Jordan,
a.k.a. Baby Creed. And he's like, don't call me that.
Jamie Bell and Guy Pearce.
There you go.
And it's based on the character John Clark that is part of the Jack Ryan universe. It's probably his most popular character outside of Jack Ryan.
Yeah, so not the Tom Cruise guy, right?
No, that's Jack Reacher. Not even the same writer.
Not then the Harrison Ford guy.
Yes. Harrison Ford, Ben Affleck, Chris Pine.
Too many.
John Krasinski.
Oh, the TV show with John Cruz.
Yes,
right.
all these are Jack Ryan.
Which, man, whatever happened in that season? Did he find out that lady?
I'm not telling you. You got to go watch the show.
Ooh, I ended up listening to that show because you would be watching it upstairs while I'd be downstairs cleaning the kitchen. That was back in the day when I used to wash dishes. And anyways, was that pandemic time? Why was I washing dishes?
I don't know, but it
These hands
needs to go back to. I know. And ironically, the John Clark character has shown up in the movies before. I believe it was in Clear and Present Danger with Harrison Ford, was played by Willem Dafoe.
Mm-hmm.
And then The Sum of All Fears, which was Ben Affleck, was played by Liev Schreiber.
Yeah.
So the same character existed. This one is essentially the origin story for John Clark's character,
Correct.
but this time played by Michael B. Jordan, separate from all these other ones like everything else. I'm aware.
Okay.
John Clark is the character. If you remember at the end of the movie and they changed the name, but then people know the popularity of the character of John Clark.
Okay, I'm there.
He has a different name at the beginning of the movie because his name gets changed in the movie.
Spy stuff, I'm assuming.
Not really a spoiler.
All right. Here's overall, what did you think? Give me an overall,
okay, so
and then we'll get
here's
into
my
some
thing:
details.
is I've seen the movie twice now. I watched the first time because I needed to get the review done. My bad hearing, and I watched it late at night, trying to keep from waking her up.
Here's the funny thing: he's like, "Babe, I'm gonna watch this movie. I'll try to keep it down."
And
I'm like,
right
"Okay." I lay down. It's like,
right out the gate, the movie starts
gigantic explosions.
Like, oh my god! And there's like surround sounds. So now I'm trying to turn it down.
I went to sleep,
and I was watching a screener, so there was no subtitles. Like a lot of times, I watch it in the middle of the night. I mean, nowadays I need to watch almost everything with subtitles, but I watch a lot of it and things at night.
Oh gosh! Really, come on, dog. Hold on. Technical difficulties.
Thanks to the dog. And it broke the camera thing.
Oh my goodness. Live TV, my friends.
It won't turn. It won't turn because of the camera. That's cord. All right. It won't stay.
We're all out of focus. It's. This is the funniest thing. Oh, we're back. We're back. What the heck? Here? I don't know. I had it. Yeah, I had it behind there.
Well, it's pulling for some reason.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Are we back here?
We're back. Oh Lord.
Is that even good?
It doesn't matter.
It does. Is it even close?
Kind of. It's fine. It's fine. Just. Yep. What the heck are you doing, man?
The camera thing broke.
Oh, it's broken.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. Yes. Okay.
Good?
Yes. Yes. Get back. Get back. Nothing happened. You're okay. Earthquake.
This dog is without remorse for our show.
Oh, poor baby. She's new. Y'all give her a break. She's new to the family. Anyhow. What were we saying?
This is the stupidest show ever.
What were we saying?
You're talking about without remorse and your issue. What did I think of it?
Okay.
And we were talking about
people were laughing.
We were talking about the explosions and whatnot.
Well, then it exploded just like that. So you watched it the first time, couldn't really hear it.
Yeah, because there was no subtitles on the screener. So I decided I wanted to watch it again with her, so make sure I understood everything that happened, but I wanted to actually experience it.
Not really. I had to explain some things.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, you did.
Understood.
You're like, wait a minute.
But anyway, I enjoyed the movie. It has some pacing issues. It seemed to be more focused on the action than it did letting the story play out. But I also think it's because it's setting up a second movie. And so I think they were trying to cram a lot in.
Yeah.
And the pacing seemed to be like trying to go too fast and never really let anything sink in. And there's some of the performances that were kind of But what about you?
Overall, I think it's a fine film. My issue with always being Tom Clancy's whatever is honestly, it's all the same formula every time.
It is.
Some guy, something goes bad. There's going to be a double agent or a triple agent or two or three of the same thing. And then maybe everything will be okay. There's still something left hanging. I'm going to get it in the next book. I mean, that's pretty much every single movie. Oh my Lord, what are you doing, dog? You've already ruined the show.
Hey.
The other issue, oh my gosh. Get in here. The other issue I had there is totally a dog butt in my face.
This is a stupid ass show.
The other issue I had is there's one lady who is John's superior who we know they're supposed to have a really great relationship, a trust, a bond. She trusts him no matter what, and he trusts her no matter what. That throughout the movie, there's some of these people we don't know if they're good or bad or playing something, but we trust her. but they have horrible chemistry.
Yeah, there's not good
and
chemistry.
she is just not doing a great job.
The problem
in
with
this.
it is her character or her performance is someone who has no emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was this thing of trying to play this military, because she's a female in power.
Correct.
Which I thought was cool. I don't know the book. I haven't read the book. I know from just reading some synopsis of the book stuff, this is not the same as the book. So I don't know if that character was always a female in the book or not. But she comes off more like the bodyguard warriors in Black Panther.
Yes,
she does. Yeah, then she does like somebody in the military.
Not very much emotion and not very much empathy, but we know they're trusting each other. But I don't get that, so that didn't work for me. And then I thought there were pacing issues, that it would just go, and then suddenly like something amazing would happen, and it's like stop.
Yeah,
and then something great would happen.
It was the kind of movie that
instead of a little bit, even if it was a slow turtle pace, but it was like go stop instead of just kind of like carry on the story.
I think it was because they were really pushing the action part. If you go back and watch any of the other Jack Ryan movies, there are a lot of action in those movies, but it's more about the espionage and the thriller aspects and the build-ups. And then the action pieces were just huge and kind of strategically placed or melded in with the rest of this. This one felt like, let's get to the action. Yeah. And the action is great in the movie.
Well, and the redeeming quality here is Michael B. Jordan.
Yes, he makes the movie better than it probably deserved to be with the rest of it. Jamie Bell's fine too, and Guy Pearce is fine, but
Guy Pearce is
Michael B. Jordan is the Do what?
Guy Pearce is looking a little different now.
He's just an older man now.
I know.
But Michael B. Jordan is the force behind this movie, and it was set up to make two movies. It was announced they were originally going to make a Rainbow Six movie as well.
Yeah. Well, because the poster flat out tells you Tom Clancy's Without Remorse. Then it's here, the author of Rainbow Six. So it wants you to know. Yeah. And
there is a mid-credit scene that hints to that. Mm-hmm. And that mid-credit scene to me felt like it didn't belong to the rest of the movie. Like I was glad they did it.
Yeah, we got something out of it, but I was like, oh, okay, this is just heading somewhere else.
Will we still get it? Because this was supposed to be a theatrical release, and then this is another pandemic movie that got thrown, or not thrown, but purchased by Amazon as a Prime exclusive film because the pandemic get out there. And Michael B. Jordan is, I think, one of the newest, best actors out there of this new generation of actors. Mm-hmm. But he is really good at action.
Yes.
Like, he's got the emotion and stuff, but he's good at really... That's one thing I'll give credit to a lot of these new action guys is, like, our action genre, or my action group that I grew up with, they were about muscles, one-liners, and kicking ass. It wasn't about acting ability.
He's got acting ability.
Most of those guys that are good actors now, was when they got older. Yeah. Whereas he established himself... Wesley Snipes did this, too. Established himself as an actor first, and then got in the... Because the problem is, every time I watch him, I remember watching him on Parenthood. He was one of the daughter's boyfriends for the longest time on that show. This young teenage kid. Yeah. And I was like, you left her, and now you're running around like you somebody. It's Creed and whatnot. But it was interesting to see his evolution.
But Creed makes me cry.
I know. And he's going to be directing Creed 3.
I'm excited for that.
So now he's making a new evolution.
Anyways. It's a fun movie. Yeah. And you can watch it on Amazon. So check it out. It's not going to cost you anything extra.
Rainbow Six or not, with it going to Amazon, and we'll see. I hope we do, because I would like to see him in this role, because the action that's here is good.
He's good in this one.
But there are a lot of issues with the film itself. But if you just go watch it for him and the action, then it's worth it.
It's worth it.
Yeah,
it's fine.
And I will also like to say they keep the theme, and I don't know if you caught this or not, of the fight style.
Oh, that's
very much like the old Jack Ryan ones, but Jack Ryan is not a good fighter. It's very just brutal and real life, just falling all over the place fighting.
He's good at shooting.
That's the thing with John Clark, is he's the polar opposite of Jack Ryan. Jack Ryan's the analyst who got thrust into action.
Correct.
John Clark is the guy who's got the training to kick ass. Yeah. But they have kind of similar story arcs. Yeah. So anyway, it's available now on Amazon Prime.
Check it out.
If you like Michael Jordan, if you like Jack Ryan, if you like just action in general,
Tom Clancy. Awesome. If you like Tom Clancy,
I wish they would make John Clark show up in the Jack Ryan show. That would be pretty awesome.
That would be cool.
Now they're all both on Amazon. Or bring John Krasinski into Rainbow Six.
That's possible.
Amazon.
How is John Krasinski in the action?
He is
in that?
so good. So
Jim
good
from The Office grew up, man.
I know. And John Krasinski auditioned to play Captain America. He could have been our Captain America.
He would have looked good too as Shazam.
Well, it's because him and the other guy look similar.
They look similar.
Yeah.
Zachary Levi. All right.
Moving on.
Next movie.
And our final movie is yet another movie that got hit by the pandemic curse, and instead of getting its theatrical release, ended up on the Netflix.
Correct.
It is a movie called
The Mitchells versus the Machines. Dun dun dun.
AKA Connected, which was its original title when I did a news story for this in 2019, I believe.
Wow.
For its release to come out in September of 2020, that did not happen. This is a movie that was produced by Phil Lord and I think it's Christopher Miller, the same people behind Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, okay, cool.
So this had a big buzz around it. And tell everyone what this movie's about.
Man, this movie is about awesomeness. Okay, so it's a movie about this family called the Mitchells. It's a husband and wife.
If you tell me they're versus the Machines, then I'm going to be blown
They
away.
have an older daughter and they have a young son. The daughter's getting ready to go off to film school. She loves to make short films, which already caught us hooked because we're about that too. And it all has to do with this little device right here and this personal assistant app. I'm not going to say a Siri or Alexa type, but one of those type of things that essentially they upgrade and they upgrade again to the point where it becomes aware and decides it's going to just take over. And there you go, versus the machine.
So it's basically the Terminator, but instead of the Terminator, it's a family trying to stop the machines.
Yes. So, y'all, this is the cutest, funniest movie.
This movie was hilarious.
I was laughing out loud. I was cracking up. And I think part of it is I like the animation of this. It's really cute.
They're quirky and weird looking, but still look normal.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I like the dynamic of the family because it's just a real family. Like the dad and the daughter, they don't get it. Like they don't understand each other.
Well, the dad's very work with your hands, screwdrivers.
And she's very artsy. Let's make computer movies about the dog. And
it's
he's like,
me and my dad.
Essentially. And then I love the little boy, the brother. He's just into dinosaurs. So he's all like, rah, rah, all the time. And he's got dinosaur shirts and keychains and wallpapers and everything. And he's like, well, for it to be historically accurate, it needs feathers. And I'm like, what? And you're like, yeah, dinosaurs had feathers. And I'm like, what? And then the mom, cute because your mom is just trying to make everyone happy and get everybody to connect. And I think the funniest thing is there's one scene where they're like, let's put all our phones down for 2 minutes and just stare into each other's eyes. And they're doing this whole weird twitchy thing because they're like, they need their phones. But that's what leads us to this whole robot apocalypse.
Well, that's how it is true now, too. Is like, even though it's funny, is like, I talk to people all the time about, the only reason I'm still on social media for the most part is to promote our website, my classes. Mm-hmm. I do post other things. I'm not saying I don't, but I'm not as obsessed with posting constantly outside of sharing stuff. Sharing this show and articles and then stuff about my class. But then at the same time, I'm just as bad as everybody else having to have my phone in my hand.
Yeah.
Because I still surf and read stuff and watch stuff and do things and it's fully taken over. This is the zombie apocalypse.
It is.
It's the phones.
Well, and that's the thing. So that's the interesting thing of the movie is they did an entire robot uprising. And yeah, it's an animated movie, but I think that allowed them to really explore.
They let them go over the top and crazy with it.
What would happen? Because in reality, you see all different types of reactions to this. So there's some people that are running and screaming. There's some people that are still on their phones. And the robots are like, don't worry, you'll still have Wi-Fi. Then I'm like, oh, okay, who cares if you've captured me? I still have Wi-Fi. Yeah. I mean, that's the crazy reactions. And I think the robots are like the funniest things.
Well, I think
which is weird.
If something like this, as this stuff happens more and more, the people that are going to survive are going to be our generation and the generation before us.
They can survive without it.
We lived without it before.
Y'all remember before internet?
Yeah, I remember not having internet, not having...
Did you have the encyclopedias? Like, we had the full set. My mom ordered them.
We were poor. We couldn't afford the encyclopedias. We had a dictionary
Do you remember going to the library to research your paper?
Yes, and I had to go through the little card
The
index.
card catalog?
Yes, I remember as part of school you had to learn how that card catalog worked.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I hated it. I actually didn't do some of the research papers because I was not going to dig through that dumb catalog.
We would go. I remember as children, my mom would take us to the library every Saturday. That was our thing. We would go every Saturday, and we would get one or two books, and the next day we'd take them back and get one or two more. We didn't go.
Here's
That's how I read all the Nancy Drew books.
This makes me sad to think about now, but excuse me. We were, and before you correct me, we were like. We struggled so much. Like, we weren't poor, but we were paycheck to paycheck. We didn't have a lot of nice things early on. As I got older, it got better, but we didn't get to go to the library as often because we were poor. But then you think, hey, then Constantine are going to book.
You still have to drive there.
But my mom was concerned about getting it back in time and late fees, and so she would look at her schedule. She doesn't remember any of this now, but I remember so many conversations of, I want to go to the library to get such and such book and this, and she's like, well, if we get this, we're not going to be able to go back and take it back in this time, so no, we can't.
Aww.
Because we couldn't afford to pay for the late fee, or we could get a late fee and then we wouldn't be able to do it again. So we could only go if she knew we would be able to afford late fees, or knew we'd be able to go back. And the same thing happened when we started renting movies. Yeah. No, you can't rent a movie. I don't have enough for late fees. I'm like, well, just take it back. I'm not going to have time. I'll be at work.
Man, I feel like we went all the time. Maybe it wasn't every week, but in my little child head, it was all, because I know I read like all the Nancy Drew books. I read Mosquito Tuxedo, and I don't know what I read all sorts of crazy things.
That might be why.
All the Garfields.
I think when I got older, we've been talking a lot about old school and walking to and from. We had completely different childhoods in relation to.
I mean, like, we were poor. I don't know what you think I was.
No. I'm just saying.
I'm thinking what the difference is, since my dad worked on base. Yeah. I think he probably got paid well. I don't have no idea, but
no. And we weren't poor either, or we didn't have. Food
I never
or
drove anywhere.
Like that.
I mean, I never walked anywhere.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I lived on like bologna and hamburger helpers and stuff like that.
We had full cooked meals.
We always had meals. It wasn't like we had bologna for dinner, but it was always like some kind of a casserole or
we had
hamburger helpers
casserole things.
We had a butt ton of hamburger helpers. That's why I think hamburger is the bomb. And have you realized we haven't had a hamburger helper in a year now?
Yeah, because we've been cooking.
We've been cooking, and I'm like,
thank you, Dinnerly.
I kind of miss hamburger helpers. But anyway,
we can do it one day.
We're
not going to like it anymore.
This is not related to that, but it was so funny as I remember taking my son to the doctor.
Oh my gosh.
And he used to share information to the doctor that wasn't completely accurate, but it was accurate for his mindset. Mm-hmm. And I remember my ex calling me, because he was getting a little chubby. And so when the doctor asked what they're feeding, my ex was like, well, this is what he eats at home. I don't know what he eats at his dad's. And he goes, we eat a hamburger helper. That's it. Like, and I'm the only one that was actually, I don't think she was cooking as much as I cooked. Because I get in full cooking mode. But he convinced everyone around him that all I fed them was hamburger helper when they came over. And so it's like, my kids, you ask him now, he'd probably tell you, we had big breakfast on Sunday and hamburger helpers, and that was it, which is so not the truth. We've had it, but anyway.
I felt like we made other stuff.
Well, this is before you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is before
once we got married, it was funny because then, there's two incomes. So when I buy groceries, like, we'd buy 2 carts full of food, and he'd come over and he'd be like, oh, we've never had this much food before. He was like so
but if you notice,
excited that when
very
I
much
was
like
there,
the way we live now. My son is essentially a chef now.
There you go. And so he can make his own hamburger helper.
I taught him to cook when he was little, and then he found love. He's surpassed what I taught him. But now he always has good food at his house. Like, he posts pictures of he's cooking steaks and lobsters and crab legs.
We are too, buddy.
I know, but he's way younger than what we've got to that evolution. Anyway, back to the movie.
Anyways. Mitchell's versus the Machine. So it is actually awesome. There's some scenes that reminded me of a little bit of some George Romero mall scene.
It had a Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs vibe.
It had a little Meatballs vibe.
It's very colorful and vibrant.
It did have a little Terminator vibe. Yeah, it's just awesome.
It's visual feast.
It is amazing. It's funny. It's hilarious. It's endearing. It's sweet. It's a family reuniting.
I could have easily seen this movie as one of the Leica productions, the stop motion animation style.
Man, it was great.
It is.
You
It's
have
so
to
funny.
watch it.
This is another one of those movies that when we walked in, I was interested in the theme of it. I love the voice cast with Danny McBride and who else was it?
Maya Rudolph is the mom.
I was really interested in all that, but then the movie itself, I was like, I hope this is not one of those struggle to get through animated. Because one of the problems with a lot of animated films, in my opinion, is you can have it's either bad, cheap animation, or you have really good animation but uninteresting characters, whether it's visually or their personalities. In this one, even though they're normal people, visually they look unique, and each one of their personalities help contradict and bounce off of the other, and it makes them a true dynamic of a family that made them entertaining to watch.
It was.
Like movies like Frozen, there's no characters that stand out to me in that movie. Even though you have the snowman that's funny, every character is just so plain, which is one of my issues. Moana to me was kind of the same way. But then you take into some of these other movies.
Raya's very visually different.
One of those things visually in your face. And even though a lot of those characters are the same, because you have the dragons and this, it makes them pop. Yeah. You know, I mean, nothing's a Fox and Hound, but that's a whole nother discussion.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, The Mitchells versus the Machines is amazing. It's great. It's awesome. You need to go watch it now.
It's laugh out loud funny.
It is. I laughed out loud. I was cracking up.
And
all the music is good.
Yeah, it had a great soundtrack.
It is so good. I was singing. I was laughing. I don't know why I was laughing. I was like laughing out loud.
And if you don't know about her, if you haven't heard her loud ass laugh during the show, this is my life, people. I was doing it throughout this whole movie. I want to go watch this again. You very much laugh like the lawyer in the Muppets.
That guy?
Jesus Christ. Yes, I didn't know I was going to get an impression. What's his name? Is your favorite guy?
Oh my gosh.
If you haven't seen the new Muppet Show,
the guy from Legal.
Disney Plus, the show itself is not great. It's hit and miss with their skits. The cooking part of it.
Joe from Legal? Joe from Legal.
Joe from Legal is one of my favorite Muppets of all time.
Yeah.
He is really funny.
He is hilarious.
Are you going to show everybody? I don't know if they can see it.
I have been authorized by the groundhog to read the following statement.
You can't play the whole
Our
thing.
Appearance with or without a ship. Footnote, while I am not technically a grep.
That. Okay. Anyway,
that's Joe from
That would have been better if you had played it on the screen and did it.
Well, I'll show you in a second.
It's Joe from Legal is available on Netflix. The Mitchell vs. Machines available now on Netflix.
There you go.
So what we got? What's coming out next? That's the last one?
I have no idea what I just did. Movie? That was the last movie. I have no idea where we're at.
All right. So I guess I'll just tell you what's coming out this week on Blu-ray. So this week on Blu-ray, we've got a couple of movies that were also part of the giveaways. What are the giveaways next? Was that last?
You can do it now. I'll do it now.
I'll go ahead and I'll talk about these first. So coming out this week, we have Judas and the Black Messiah hitting Blu-ray. It's also Daniel Kaluuya, however you can say his name right, who just won the Best Actor. Don't put that up. I'm not doing that
I'm not doing that.
Okay.
You need to calm the heck down.
He just won Best Actor or Best Supporting Actor or whatever that was for that movie.
Yes.
I don't know. Was he Best Supporting? Because him and Lakeith were both nominated. Yes, because Anthony Hopkins got Best Actor.
Yes.
So anyway, he got Judas and the Black Messiah is coming out. The Little Thing starring Denzel, Jared Leto, and Rami Malek is coming out on the video. DVD.
Yeah.
A movie called The Virtuoso, starring Anthony Hopkins, Anson Mount, and Robbie. Is it Robbie? Abby Cornish. Anthony Hopkins, who just recently won an Academy Award for The Father, which is an amazing film. And I also want to make a point. I just read this article. It makes me very upset. Anthony Hopkins. So if you saw the Oscars, Anthony Hopkins, and there was another actor or actress, I don't remember who it is, had the same issue. Anthony Hopkins was not at the Oscars.
Correct.
He's 80-something years old. I'm assuming he's in London, and obviously probably wasn't going to travel due to COVID or whatever.
Corones.
Anyway, but he didn't give an Oscar speech at the thing.
Correct.
They said we accept it.
We'll accept on his behalf.
So, and then he put out a video the next day. Well, a news story came out that said that they were trying to get them to set up Zoom acceptance speeches for him, and the Oscars refused it. And
Why?
They said part of it was understandable, the refusal, because the concern of the quality of the videos and the thing, but there was never a compromise at all. Let's figure that. And there were so many people that were videoed in.
Correct.
For other speeches and stuff. So I'm like,
that's dumb.
That pissed me off.
Yeah.
So anyway, totally not related. The Virtuoso, Big Fish, one of the great Tim Burton movies, is getting a 4K release. Let me see. I think that's the main big ones that are coming. There's a few other random stuff, but yeah, that's the big. I think MacGruber's getting a new release, and Cool as Ice is getting CB4 getting new releases and stuff like that. So, what was that face for? Because I said Cool as Ice is getting a Blu-ray release.
I gotta show everybody this.
It's probably the same release. They're probably just like re-releasing it. So if you want if you want it on the Blu-ray,
I need it on the Blu-ray.
Okay, well.
Okay. Then let's talk about what's coming out at the theater.
Well, I can tell you the first. Are you playing that right now?
No,
We'll do that at the end.
Yeah.
Are you going to tell us what's coming out at the theater, or are you going to keep messing with that?
I'm going to keep messing with this.
Okay, well, we're doing a show.
I know, but I'm going to share this. I am going to share this right now.
All right, well, let's circle back to Joe from Legal, just so she can show you the quick clip. If you don't know Joe from Legal, are you ready for it?
I think so. I know, but I'm going to. Oh, hold on.
This is why you don't let someone don't know what they're doing. Jackson.
It's Joe from Legal.
Are you sharing it?
Yeah.
All right, so this is just a quick clip from Joe from Legal laugh that she did, just so if you haven't seen it.
Okay, hold on. Don't make noise.
Jackson. Is it going?
It's Joe from Legal.
Are you sharing it?
Yeah.
All right, so this is just a quick clip from Joe from Legal laugh that she did, just so if you haven't seen it.
Okay, hold on. Don't make noise.
Moving on.
So dumb. I'm so dumb. I'm sorry.
All right, let's go. This is the worst produced show.
It doesn't matter.
Our
Okay.
camera fell all over the place from a dog attack.
We were attacked by dogs. What are you going to do? It happens. All right. So we are in a new month, my friends. It's already May of 2021, the year of our Lord. All right. So coming out at the theater this Friday, something called Wrath of Man.
It's the re-team of Guy Ritchie and Jason Statham.
Okay. I think that's all we really need to know, right? This is the one where I'm like, if Jason Statham just stands there, I'm going to watch it.
You know he's making Meg 2 as well.
Really? It was okay. It was
What? Meg 2 was a blast.
mean,
Meg was awesome. It was a blast.
okay, coming out nationwide is a movie called Here Today. It
Is it Gone
stars
Tomorrow?
Sharon Stone, Tiffany Haddish, Billy Crystal. It's
I know
about
this.
a comedy writer. Whatever. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Nationwide, The Human Factor. Gatekeepers comes from the director of Gatekeepers. Comes the untold behind-the-scenes story of the U.S. efforts to secure peace in the Middle East. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, it's limited.
I'll go back to The Waterman. That one is actually directed by David Yellowo.
Yellowo.
I believe he directed it. Too.
Okay. It's in limited release, so it may not be near you. But if you see it, check it out. It'll come in wide release probably next week. Okay, movie, video, demand, and digital called Locked In. It's Mina Suvari. So I'll probably watch it just because I like her.
I'm sure she's locked in something.
Yep, she's locked. It's an action thriller that will keep you guessing until the very
But it won't.
end. Netflix, a movie called Monster. Follows 17-year-old honor student and aspiring filmmaker in Harlem, but he's being charged for a felony murder crime he didn't commit.
Of course he is.
So Jennifer Hudson, I don't know why, but
You don't know why Jennifer Hudson?
John David Washington, Kelvin Harrison Jr. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm assuming because it's a real life thing. Video, demand, and digital.
That's this week.
Ghostmaster. Ghostmaster. Movie buff wants to work on becoming a horror master.
I have that one. We gotta watch that.
The Paper Tigers.
So excited for this.
As teenagers, these kung fu people were inseparable, but now 25 years later,
So it's like an action comedy.
They're seemingly one kick away from pulling a hamstring.
It looks really funny, and here's what's even the cooler part about it is that there a lot of the guys in there are actual real martial artists, but it also features
Who?
Matt Page.
Oh yeah, you see that there.
Who is Master Ken.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna
We
be
get to do some
awesome.
martial arts in it, so we have a screening link for that to talk about.
Okay, 15 things you didn't know about Bigfoot. All right, that's coming out on video, demand, and digital. I know some people who'd be interested in that. Okay, video, demand, and digital. The Unthinkable. A Midsummer in Sweden. I'm in. I am in automatically. Don't know anything about it. Okay, and then on Prime Video, The Boy from Medellin.
They keep sending me stuff about this.
which we need to
think it's a
watch it.
documentary,
It is a documentary about
DJ or singer, isn't it?
J Balvin prepares for the most important concert of his career. He's like a real life singer, and it's about him selling out that stadium in Medellin, Colombia,
they've been sending me
and
tons
just
of
about
crap
his life. And I am so interested.
Are you?
Yes,
All right.
because I believe that's actually
Well, then let's
if
shift
it's
over
who I
to-
think it is.
All right.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, let's shift over to our giveaways. We finally got some new giveaways up.
Okay.
So
Okay,
some of the
girl.
stuff got held back, and I couldn't get approval, so it takes some time. But if you share our stuff, you get more giveaways, and so sometimes it gets held up if people aren't getting me the proper numbers here. So the first we're giving away is Judas and the Black Messiah. We're giving away copies of that. We still got copies of The Marksman that we're giving away, starring Liam Neeson in his latest action role. He has another action role movie coming to Netflix this time, I believe.
Ooh,
Then we have digital copies of Raya and the Last Dragon, not to be confused with Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon.
the power of the glow.
That is the only Last Dragon, but we'll allow Raya to have it. But that's a digital copy. Then we're also giving away copies of Deliver Us from Evil, which is a new crime thriller from Logo USA, as well as so we got a couple of copies of Godzilla left that we're giving away on 4K, and copies of The Little Things that we talked about coming out as well.
Cool.
So go to our website at
HollywoodMatrimony.com.
and check out the contest and please, please, please email me the contest answers and information. I have a lot of people that post it on Facebook, or they post it on Twitter, or they answer it on Instagram, and I see it and I try to add them into the mix because I do random drawings. But when they're not in the emails, I don't always remember them if I don't happen to catch it. There's been a couple that I never saw the post for whatever reason, and then I see it later. So I want everybody to have a chance.
Yeah.
So make sure you email. And don't email it to the website like some people we know have done. It doesn't work. Go to the email. And the email's on the front page of the website at
HollywoodMatrimony.com. Someone says, I do have the same laugh as Joe from Legal. Thank you. All right, friends. That's it for us, I think. We've gone through everything. Thank you so much for watching today's show. Sorry we're running late.
And
sorry for the earthquake.
Sorry for the dog quake.
I mean, we do this from our house because we love movies.
Well, here's the thing.
Not because we're in a professional studio. It's getting better.
Well,
the lighting.
A lot of people do these shows too, and they pre-record them and stuff. And we've talked about we still have a couple of shows that I want us to do that will be pre-recorded, but we're doing it live. So live TV, live shows, things happen.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
The show must go on.
Always continue on. All right, friends, have a great week. We'll see you here next weekend for Hollywood Matrimony Live.